All right, Chris Broussard, Suns and the Sixers specifically, a little bit of trouble. Celtics, Bucks will be great. Chris Broussard joining us, co-host First Things First. So I said this earlier, that KD was never the best player in the league. LeBron was. KD was on the best team and the MVP of the finals. Giannis is absolutely the best player in the league. Embiid's chronically beat up. Jokic is great, but not the kind of transcendent player. There's a lot of good players. And you know, I look at it, and I look at some of the numbers with Giannis, and they're very LeBron-like. He's doing stuff nobody's ever done. Middleton leaves. They blow the Bulls out 3 straight games. I don't know who wins the Boston-Milwaukee series. I think they need Middleton. I think it's a 6-7 game series. Do you have an early lean who you would like in that series?
Well, first things first, I got to make a pick, so I went with Boston in 7, but I'm hesitant. I've been going back and forth about both teams. I like Milwaukee at one point, then I like Boston. So I went with the Celtics in 7 because, as you mentioned, the Middleton injury. That's huge, and I know they look great against Chicago without him, but Chicago's not a very good defensive team when they're whole, and they had some injuries, so they weren't whole. Grayson Allen stepped up, Colin, and averaged 20 points for Milwaukee when Middleton was out. I don't think he's doing that against the Boston defense. So I'm with you in that Giannis is the best player in the world. He was my pick, my vote for the MVP. And I think he will get his and play well against Boston. But who else? I don't know where they're getting all their points from.
Yeah.
Because that defense is for real in Boston, and that's my concern with Milwaukee. Now, I think for narrative's sake, Colin, for what we do, if Giannis marches to his 2nd straight championship, I think that's the best thing. That is awesome because then we start looking, you mentioned LeBron, we start looking like, are we about to see kind of a LeBron James run?
Yeah.
I don't know, can he do what Jordan did? You know, he stayed in Milwaukee, built his own team from scratch, didn't go join a super team. This would be historically great if Giannis could win it, but I think Boston gets them in 7.
Cleveland wasn't very functional in ownership and front office in LeBron's first 7 years there. Milwaukee's highly functional, so I don't think he'd ever have to leave. It doesn't look like it. So, you know, you kind of go to this Philadelphia situation. I defend Doc Rivers. I always said Joe Torre and Doc Rivers remind me of each other. They make all their pros. They've played the sport. They get along with guys. I don't know if Torre was the best. You know, was he Earl Weaver? Is he Tony La Russa? Dusty Baker? I don't know that way, but I do know he could understand the temperature of the room. He could make a lot of personalities and egos in the media in New York work, and I always feel like that with Doc Rivers. The media mostly likes him. He's out there defending himself. Could I just say this? Embiid's hurt. Thibault can't play in the Canada games. Harden has aged overnight. If they lost, there are some reasons, aren't there?
Oh, God. No. No. And look, I first of all, I'm with you on Doc. Everybody loves Doc. Doc is a great guy. And that's why he gets soft-pedaled, the soft treatment from the media. And he was a great broadcaster before he was coaching. Like, Doc is great. But if they lose this series, Colin, oh, no way. Because who didn't play for Toronto last game? Fred VanVleet.
Yeah.
All right, like, so there's no excuse. Toronto's a bit banged up, more than a bit. They're banged up as well. You were up 3-0. No. And it would be ironic, Colin, because when Doc was hired by Philadelphia, the feeling amongst many, some didn't say it though. I said it. It was like, that's an odd hire. Because Doc, Colin, we have to admit, it was underachievement with the Clippers. That was a championship team. And look at Chris Paul everywhere else he's gone since Doc. He's been tremendous and gotten teams further. Never got past the 2nd round with Doc. And then when Doc leaves and they get to the conference finals for the first time ever with Kawhi Leonard injured. Doc lost the 3-1 lead with Kawhi Leonard. So it's just too much. It's not a coincidence. The history is what it is. We just can't defend it. It's nothing against Doc personally, and he can help himself by just closing out this series. I get it. Thibault's out, Embiid, the thumb, But no, there are no excuses. When you consistently lose 3-1 leads,
oh boy,
it suggests the opponent is making adjustments and you're not.
All right.
And you gotta make the necessary adjustments. It is what it is.
All right. Okay. Maybe you swayed me. So, Kevin Durant's in an interesting space. I said this yesterday. He was the reason he left Golden State is because he's non-confrontational. He wouldn't break bread, sit down with Draymond, and hammer it out and say, "Listen, I don't want to leave this thing. I got great GM, I got great owner, I got great coach, I got great teammates." If he was there right now, they'd be overwhelmingly favored to win the championship. But he didn't want to confront Draymond, who's much more confrontational, right? He barks at Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr barks back at Draymond, and they're close. So now he's in Brooklyn, and my takeaway, Chris, is now he's got to do some confronting with Kyrie, but it's not who he is. And so I think he needs to go upstairs to the owner and just say, "Listen, man, you can't give me Ben Simmons and Kyrie. These guys are enigmatic. You gotta move Kyrie. I can't, because now Brooklyn's trapped. Do they have to give, when he opts out, I can't give him a 5-year deal. I can't give Kyrie a 5-year deal. There's no way I can do that. How does the only way that KD gets out of this to me is go upstairs to the owner. You tell me. I think KD's career, I think he's completely trapped. Your thoughts?
I think a lot of what you say makes sense. I don't think KD's a leader, and that's fine. Everybody's not a leader. He was in the perfect situation in Golden State. Plop into the lineup and shoot your jumper. That was it.
Yeah.
And he was the best player on that team. Kyle, who knows how many rings he would have won? Very good chance he would have topped LeBron's 4 and equaled Kobe's 5. So he did blow it. Now, look, I think if I were in his shoes, I think he needs to sit down with Kyrie and have a heart-to-heart. And speaking of Kyrie, Colin, there's no way the Nets can do it. I'm sorry. As great as Kyrie is, I still think he's a Hall of Famer. But he's too unreliable. And this is all on Kyrie. I've said it. The only person that can stop Kyrie on the basketball court is Kyrie. If I'm the Nets, I sit down with Kyrie and I say, "Look, you should opt into your deal. Because if you opt out, we're just going to give you a 1-year deal roughly around the same amount of money. We're not giving you a long-term deal. You can point out all the negatives if you want of him not being there, whether it's injuries, whether it's just needing some time off because there was a tragedy somewhere in the country or the world, or the vaccination, whatever it is. You can't give him a long-term contract. And Kyrie has no leverage because virtually every other team in the league feels the same way. And they know he doesn't want to leave Brooklyn. So if Kyrie's unreliable in a place he wants to be, can you imagine if he gets traded or signs with someone he doesn't want to play for? Oh, it would be terrible. So he doesn't have much leverage. If KD is in a tough spot because Kyrie is his friend, and if he were to go, I think honestly, Colin, just thinking of it from a human level, I think what he needs to do with management is say, "Look, y'all run the show. Do what you want to do with Kyrie. I'm here to stay. It's on you."
Yeah.
Wash his hands of it.
Yep.
Because if he gets involved and then Kyrie doesn't get a long-term deal, that could ruin their friendship. I mean, like I said, I'm thinking of it on a human level because you're talking about tens of millions of dollars, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars that it could cost Kyrie if KD were to be like, "Look, you can't sign." So KD, in my opinion, just wash your hands of it. Say, "Look, I'm here to play. Whatever y'all do, you looked good before I got here. You did the right things. I'm here to play. Let's form a championship team, and I'll be here to lead it." But I don't think he can get involved with Kyrie because of his friendship. He has to let it go.
Yeah. Chris Broussard, enjoy the draft tonight and the NBA playoffs, buddy.
Yep, you too.
All right, Chris Broussard, Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio, First Things First, co-host, doing a great job. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.